This is Two Friends, Two Poems, the podcast where friends read poems to each other just to see what happens. My name's Tom. This was my idea. And today we have a part two of last week's episode featuring the poetry of Joy Harjo and Louise Gluck, as well as another original by Little Old Me. But first, I really enjoyed hearing Paul talk about his experience with the poetry of Joy Harjo. So here's more of what we talked about with that. Bye.
Can you say more about that? Why don't you feel like you have a right to? I can relate, and I think I can. I'm just curious. The what I just immediately thought of in myself is like hip hop music. Like I don't feel like I went through a long time when I was young that I was like, that's not for me. I'm not allowed to listen to that, or I don't have the life experience to have a take or an opinion, or, you know, I didn't know how to experience it. So I don't know. Is that kind of similar to what you're talking about?
Yeah. I mean, I've always had a pretty stable life income wise, growing up in the suburbs of Denver.
Mm-hmm.
My folks had steady work all the time, and I think in particular with Joy Harjo, she was born in Oklahoma and she's a member of the Muskogee Nation.
Okay.
And is writing from that experience of
Right.
like everyone else in America constantly wanting original peoples to just not exist here, that would be like easier.
Mm-hmm.
You and I have talked about this a lot too, of like when you're looking backward and trying to like understand your past, but also making a separation to like, well, time is going this way and there are things that don't need to persist and I can take action.
Mm-hmm.
Even in, albeit maybe in the small or large ways that to make sure things die with us.
Right.
There are things we do even in our ideas that, I don't know, maybe change things. They at least change things for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I like to think me being willing to read Joy Harjo in the first place is going like, there's many ways to be an American. There's many ways to exist. And there are ways to understand what other people think without being them. And not just think, but how they feel.
Yeah. Beautiful.
And gosh, when I read them out loud too, like something, they hit in just such a different way.
Yeah.
How to write a poem in a time of war. You can't begin just anywhere. It's a wreck. Shrapnel in the eye of a house, a row of houses. There's a rat scrambling from light with fleshy trash in its mouth. A baby strapped to its mother's back, cut loose. Soldiers crawl the city, the river, the town, the village, the bedroom, our kitchen. They eat everything or burn it. They kill what they cannot take. They rape. What they cannot kill, they take. Rumors fall like rain, like bombs, like mother and father tears swallowed for restless peace, like sunset slanting toward a moonless midnight, like a train blown free of its destination, like a seed fallen where there's no chance of trees or any place for birds to live. No. Start here. Deer peer from the edge of the woods. We used to see woodpeckers the size of the sun, redbirds, and were greeted by chickadees with their good morning songs. We started to cook outside, slippery with dew and laughter. Those smoky, sweet sunrises. We tried to pretend war wasn't going to happen. though they began building their houses all around us and demanding more, they started teaching our children their God's story. A story in which we'd always be slaves. No, not here. You can't begin here. This is memory shredded because it's impossible to hold by words, even poetry. These memories were left here with the trees. The torn pocket of your daughter's hand-sewn dress, the sash, the lace, the baby's delicately beaded moccasin still connected to the foot, a young man's note of promise to his beloved. No, this is not the best place to begin. Everyone was asleep despite the distant bombs. Terror had become the familiar stranger, our beloved twin girls curled up in their nightgowns next to their father and me. If we begin here, none of us will make it to the end of the poem. Someone has to make it out alive, sang a grandfather to his grandson. His granddaughter, as he blew his most powerful song into the hearts of the children. There it would be hidden from the soldiers, who would take them miles, rivers, mountains from the naval cord place of their origin story. He knew one day, far day, the grandchildren would return, generations later, over slick highways constructed over old trails, through walls of laws meant to hamper or destroy, over the libraries of the ancestors in the winds, born in stones. His song brings us to his home place in these smoky hills. Begin here.
Wow. Well read, Paul. And of course, and beautiful. I'm looking at it and I'm so, I think you may, had you sent me this before? On Discord? I don't know. I remember, it may not be this one, but this is one that the way it's presented visually, I think is intentionally disorienting. Would you call it that?
Yeah. You could make a lot of decisions on how to read it out loud.
Oh, yeah.
It would all be great.
And there's, I love the meta part of it, of the no, start here. And no, not here. Yeah. Wow. I can't wait to listen to that again and read it more.
I love to, because what's currently in mind are like completely other places in the world.
Sure.
And the way this can be,
To keep it hidden.
the way it's so specific, but it doesn't have to be.
Yeah. Well, just keeping it hidden from the soldiers.
Mm-hmm.
The stories in which we are always slaves.
Yeah, teaching our children their God's story.
Yeah. That's... Oh. That is laid so bare, isn't it? Wow. Beautiful. This is just a poem called Confession, again by Louise Gluck. To say I'm without fear, it wouldn't be true. I'm afraid of sickness, humiliation. Like anyone, I have my dreams, but I've learned to hide them, to protect myself from fulfillment. All happiness attracts the fates' anger. They are sisters, savages. In the end, They have no emotion but envy.
Right?
Something about I have my dreams, but I've learned to hide them to protect myself from fulfillment.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is, that's a beautiful way to say careful what you wish for. All right. Want me to do another?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. What are you going to say? No?
No, I gotta watch golf.
All right. I called this one Indifference with thanks to Pearl Jam. Here we go. When a person reveals a thing that is a constant, a thing about them that has been them since they were a child and will remain them until their last breath, a look, a sigh, a way the eyes shift in reaction to the thing interrupting the normal. I've identified an integral ingredient of you, the magic and beauty that is you. My fragile ego reduces you to a spreadsheet, a recipe that, when sliced and juiced, pressed, extracted, set on fire, explains you in total. You provide what I need, and when and how. You refuse to bend to my ideal vision of you, of us, of anything. Yes, everything. Who stole my cows? Where are my chickens? You are as natural as the best hormones and most efficient cancers. You are the essential giver of the end. You are the outrageous and the mundane. You make poetry easy and always pointless. Your indifference powers the treadmill. I, however, control the pace. What's so funny?
I have a beer.
I'm like grinning the whole way through too.
I know.
I'm just like enjoying it so much, and then you hit what's so funny, like
I'm familiar.
Yeah.
Regret.
Thanks.
thank you. Get
I
to
think it's been a great episode.
do something every day that doesn't make sense. Read
Yeah,
some
right?
poetry.
Right.